going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Astoria Filmmakers Club podcast. Welcome back to the AFC podcast. My special guest today is actually Carl Grasso, director, filmmaker, as well as an actor. How's it going, Carl?
It is going great. Lovely Sunday afternoon here in North Carolina. And I am currently going to be shooting a short film tonight, actually. I just found out my agent just rang me up and kind of said, hey, go here and do a cameo. So it should be fun. It's been fun. It's been fun. So what's going on with the Astoria Filmmakers Club?
We got a lot going on. Later on this afternoon, we got another writers meetup for our weekly meeting of the writers room. So there's a lot of scripts on the table now. I actually lost count, like when we had it on our spreadsheet and just see what's there. There's like 30 or so, maybe closer to 40 by now, projects that we've actually been, perusing, getting through the synopsis, looking through the pitch deck, putting together whatever group of actors that are available on a weekend just to kind of do a read through. And what we're actually working on shortly and presently are a couple of original stories, but we're executing them in a podcast play platform.
Wonderful.
So I don't know if you knew this coming in, but the AFC, it's a nonprofit for the independent film market, really. So it'll be the, I never knew, fiscal sponsor. So basically any money that is needed to build your own grant. One thing we really wanted to do as we campaign to raise money, we wanted to actually include not just like an ordinary read through of giving people the idea of the whole concept of what to expect, let alone the synopsis, but really give you an inside experience where you actually can listen to the radio show version of that script. And if it's a show that you definitely want to see now, all you got to do is donate to the AFC campaign. That money is going to go right to the production of making it. And we're just going to get started and start filming.
I produced a drama podcast a while back because I was a casting director of a kind of similar to what you were, but we were doing radio shows like in the spirit of Lights Out or The Twilight Zone or something. And we did quite a few. I left the company and I wrote my own script and I said, you know what, I probably could produce it. And I cast it and directed it, and I had somebody engineer it for me, and I learned how to engineer it and everything. And I'll tell you, it is a lot of work, and funding does go a long way. And because it's not like, we're going to fund a Learjet so we can go to Paris for vacation. No, it is to make sure that the engineer is paid for and the actors are taken care of so they can, feel compensated for their time and that kind of stuff. And no, I've been exactly where you are with some of my projects as well. And I will be probably doing the same thing as you are, funding a couple of movies coming towards the summer. And basically just for that reason, like we want to put out the best, or I want to put out the best possible product, because there's a lot, you probably have stories too, where the products that are funded for are not so good.
Yeah.
And some of them are actually scams where it's like pay to play. Like you could be a movie star right now if you pay $10,000 to be in my movie, and
Really?
you get to $10,000 cash, and you can be next to a film star from the '90s or a television star from the '90s, and little to what they know is that movie will never be seen, or if anything, it'll be like hidden somewhere in some international market that will never be seen internationally, or you'll be lucky if there's a DVD copy or a digital copy somewhere. So, unfortunately now the films of today are like, you have the studio system where everyone's, familiar with that. Basically, those are Marvel movies or giant intellectual properties that we all know. Halloween's, that kind of thing. Evil Dead just came out, that kind of stuff. That stuff we know. Or very rarely smaller films that are from the studio systems still. Like, Disney owns quite a few of like little studios that'll put out like the movie like The Whale or like something small, or Everything Everywhere. No, that was Sony. Everything Everywhere once was Sony, but still it's
there's studio work.
There is studio work. And then there's stuff like you guys and myself who try to maybe just want to do an independent film, small budget, but we want to tell a good story. We want to actually highlight an actor or two, or try to get something into festivals. And it's kind of like a mom and pop type of thing, but where you have good intentions, and the intentions are to just create stories through film or through, like you said, through podcasting. And I see nothing wrong with that. I see that's actually something very beneficial to people, you know?
Sure. I think it gives a lot of people, at least, I can't speak for everybody, but more like just a theater space to really like not be the bigger fish in a smaller pond, but
Right.
like literally have another resource and a tool to move their career forward, even though it might appeal like, you know, a small step, but it might be a necessary step.
Well, Internet Movie Database now accepts podcasts, so an actor can put that on their IMDb as well. And I don't know about commercials, but they do accept video games. They accept voiceover work, which is fantastic for people who do like animated. So I've done an animated short. I played an evil bunny in a Five Nights at Freddy fan film, which was amazing. And that's on my IMDb. But the more you can grow that, the more that you have credit in the sense of, you know, what you're doing. And
Sure.
you know, instead of having like one credit, you have like 50, which is the goal of anybody who wants to get into this business. I mean, some people want to casually, I took acting in high school and this, that. You know, I could be an extra or something. You know, when I'm from New York, and you could be an extra in a movie every day. You just have to be, you know, in the right place, right time. You could be on Law and Order or the movie of the week that they're filming, right in basically the Village area in New York City. Usually they film up and down, or Brooklyn. They've been doing a lot of. I think they Blue Bloods. I think they film right there in Greenpoint, around there somewhere.
There's like a little small warehouse, like white and blue, like off, not even off the beaten path, but it's sort of like a little bit of a hidden gem where the Blue Blood soundstage is. But
Right.
No, yeah, it's a really nice set, and I have met Mark is it David Wahlberg?
Danny Wahlberg. Danny Wahlberg.
I did meet Dan. What a nice dude, you know, just like he brings such a good energy to the entire atmosphere. Always got a smile on his face. Good worker, decent human being. God bless him.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. But like, you ever see like how sort of like essential the lead actor might actually be, because they do supply like a couple of hundred jobs to people that you don't really see, you know?
Yes. I just saw somewhere on some social media, Keanu Reeves. They actually gave someone took a video of him actually thanking the crew, I believe on the set of the last John Wick movie. I could be wrong, but he literally just had a speech. You know, he said he wanted to thank everybody from the catering corps to the stunt guys to the camera guys. Without them, like, he wouldn't be there. It's very emotional too. And like, I wish there was more people like him, because I've run into the opposite all the time, and you just go, "Shut up, you're not that. Stop it. No, go away." You know, I've dealt with that. And
that guy's been through hell, honestly.
Yes.
In his days, you know, where he had, like, I don't know if it was a humbling thing, but he never really seemed jaded through his experiences. He found gratitude in everything he's ever done, and it's definitely shown in his work. And he's so consistent, you know, in how he carries himself in public, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, oh well, the joke about his talent, his acting skills. I'm like, yeah, but this guy's been a movie star for how many years? Almost
18, like at least 18, 19.
Yeah, 4 decades. You can't knock him for that. I mean, as much as like, I don't like him or what, I don't. Yeah, but granted, you know, I got to give him credit. I mean, the guy's amazing.
I don't think I could be friends with somebody who does not like Keanu Reeves.
Exactly.
No, I mean, like, I haven't really even like met somebody directly that actually went out of their way to really say, I don't care for him that much. I haven't met that guy. Not interested in it, because it's like, A, you're wrong, and B, don't make it about you and your opinion. I didn't ask for it.
Every actor, doesn't matter who it is, can do a bad movie. I can do a bad performance on stage. Can maybe they're not good enough in the studio when they're recording a song. Something might happen that they have to fix it. It happens. And you know, sometimes, why is this guy in this movie? Maybe he needs the money. You don't know. Me might have to you know, pay a mortgage payment or something. Like, it's a job. That's how I treat it. I treat it as a job. So like, now I'm further in my career than I was years ago, and you know, I giggle when I go, 10, 15 years ago, I would be like, how would I get to this point where I have an agent and where I'm in Hollywood films and, have been auditioning for higher television shows and then what I used to be like auditioning for community theater, let's say. Not bashing community theater because I still do community theater here where I live in North Carolina. I'm a member of the Greensboro Playwrights Forum, and and I've written stuff that has been performed on the stage here in Greensboro, and they are a wonderful bunch of talented people. And I wish every town or adjacent town would have something like this, where they'd have a theater space that you could either rent out or kind of like what you do, like you'll have a space and you can write something. If it's good enough, they'll get a bunch of actors, rehearse, and put a show on. I mean,
just get right to it.
Yeah. And the donations are they put them back into the organization. That's why Greensboro Playwrights Forum is a nonprofit too. And that's why I'm all about nonprofits.
Did they film 29th Street down there in North Carolina by you guys?
29th Street. No, but they have filmed Hellraiser 3. In fact,
all right.
If you watch Hellraiser 3, they substituted for New York. So actually, I'm looking at the window here. I'm at the where I am, and I could see where they shot the scenes where the Pinhead and the Cenobites were attacking the lead actress and blowing up cop cars and stuff. So if you want to see where I am, go watch Hellraiser 3, 1990 something. So
well, this one here, if I'm looking at the right one, it says it actually Hellraiser rated R came out in 2022. No. That was the remake. We're looking at Hellraiser 3. That's like 1991 or 92. Oh, because I recognize this character where they got a bunch of pins in their head.
Yeah, that would be Pinhead, Pinface, or the priest. It's called. I'm
not a horror person. Everybody listening knows I'm not. I love hair and makeup. God bless them. They're very creative. When it comes to movies, I can't watch them. I'm still too scared, or I don't want to be.
There's nothing wrong with that, because I never thought I would be in horror movies. I was a fan. I always liked them because they're kind of like, when I was growing up, they were kind of the movie where, instead of watching the appropriate movie on television, you would sit there by your TV set and your hand would be on the dial. I'm old, so instead of remote control, I would have a dial. And so when Freddy Krueger or Jason were attacking somebody in the shower, oh my God, too scary. And I'd flip over to the Golden Girls or something like that. Or I'd flip over to the Cosby Show or something like that. And through that, I got a love through them, and I started writing them, and maybe that kind of helped me out a little bit. But I can do comedy or horror. That seems to be my genres. And I got cast as always like the creep or the gangster or the killer. That just happens to be my thing. And I mean, but it's paid off in the fact that the Mutilator 2, which I'm promoting, is the sequel.
Is that a fish hook that shows as a number 2?
Yes, that is a fish hook, as you can see that. It's about about a fisherman kind of who attacks people with all sorts of weapons, and fish hooks one of them. The first movie was 1984. It came out that long ago, and it was filmed here in North Carolina.
Wow.
Filmed at Atlantic Beach. And it was it became an international cult hit. It wasn't a hit immediately. It became an international cult hit. It's big overseas in Europe, the original movie. So through that, the original director, his name is Buddy Cooper, writer director. Yeah, he got financing, and he wanted to make a sequel. So he got a crew together, and he went through auditions. I was like, I think you said like number 15, 16 that he talked to or something. Or maybe that's a lie. I'm not sure. But he got a very good cast. He got Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Yeah. I'm looking at him right now. It's like, this guy is actually an actor.
Yeah. Yes, he is. He worked with all sorts of people. I was kind of intimidated, but he was a very nice guy. He was very polite to me. And we got people from Strangers at Night, which is the sequel to The Strangers, another horror movie, a movie called Haunt, very cult following kind of films. We got somebody who was in the Breaking Bad movie, El Dorado. Her name is Cody Renee Cameron. She's going to kill me for that. Cody Renee Cameron. And she is in, I think, The Mayans, which is, I believe, a Son of Anarchy spinoff. I'm trying to think of other people's resumes. Eva Hamilton's in it.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Vinny Rocco Vargas. Shout out to the Mayans cast. They all work together out there.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's the show, The Mayans. But I'm just trying to say, like, I work with this guy Channing Morrow, who's an amazing actor. I was saying Ava Hamilton, all this cast, Dan Brogan, tons of people, some from North Carolina and some from California, and it was an amazing experience. We shot it basically last year at this time, and I believe it's coming out Memorial Day.
Oh, right on.
In theaters, hopefully. I haven't heard it much. I haven't heard about a release date, but I'm guessing Memorial Day at this point. But it's going to be fun when it comes out. I know you don't like horror, but this will be it's going to be like a funny type of.
I mean, like I can't even imagine, like, you know, like getting to this level where you actually get a decent amount of money and you got such a fan base where you're doing a part 2 of something, which is high, like, especially from the fan point, like it's almost like a don't do it recommendation.
Yeah, no, true. It could go either way. It could be like, well, why would you do that? Yeah,
but if you get to this point, you actually have like you actually got some ball players in your cast. And like, I don't know if it's Cody Cameron, but I do recognize her from The Deuce. She's a character actress, and she's been in lots of stuff. She's also in a film called Neon Demon with Keanu Reeves. That's like a Kubrickian kind of weird type of film. She's in that, and tons of other stuff as well. It's gonna be fun when it comes out finally. I'll watch the trailer and I'll give it a thumbs up. And
the trailer is out there. You know, or you can always watch the trailer. Go to YouTube, type in Mutilator 2 trailer, and you'll see it. It's fun. It's gonna be exciting.
Mutilator 2. You got Emily Benson. You got Damien.
Yes, Damien is he's the guy from Strangers Part 2. The original one, The Strangers, had Liv Tyler in it, and the sequel had Christina Hendricks in it from Mad Men. It was took place, I believe, in a motel. It was, and he played one of the killers. Damien did, and he's in a movie called Haunt with Channing Morrow, where they play killers.
He played in Haunt.
Yeah, he played the killers in it's like a carnival. And it's a fun house or something, and they lock the people in the fun house, and they walk around like the devil, the ghost, and everything. They torture these people. It's actually very good. And most of the crew from that worked on The Mutilator. Also, I believe they also did the remake of the movie Wrong Turn with Matthew Modine.
Right. Okay. No. Wrong Turn. Actually, I didn't see it, but
it's a remake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that came out, I think, in 2020, maybe.
Right. So you know your horror movies. You know them. I see them.
I know. No, I know what to avoid. I don't know my horror movies. Like, it's just like it's sort of like a warning sign. Like, you see that? Don't go near that. And because I learned my lesson as a kid, you know, like I did everything my parents told me not to do, and I paid for it. So now I'm actually telling myself, okay, stay away from that. Talk to the actors. Like, you know, I respect I accept like the craftsmanship of the genre 100%. I'm backing it up. I just don't want to walk through it. I can't, like, you know, have you ever actually, like, everybody shit themselves once before. I just don't want to be that guy in the movie theater. You know, I don't want to be that guy. So I want to put myself in that situation.
It's like finding the old VHS in the VCR, but it's your parents having sex, that kind of thing. You know.
Well, it just like hit the fast forward button. You can still see it on screen.
Where's my DuckTales cartoon? And then you see your mom fucking your dad. Yeah. Like a normal Sunday.
My parents were very discreet, you know.
They kept the videos away. I'm from
I don't think they had the camcorders like for the selfies back in the 80s and 90s.
You would be surprised. Not saying my parents did anything, but I'm just saying the shit that I've accidentally seen, like on, you know, regular tapes, because people were funny back then, and they would take a children's tape, like you're watching the Transformers, and then all of a sudden, you know, you see something inappropriate. Fight Club did a good bit on that. They did a splicing a porno into a kids movie, but that was film. But
that actually, yeah,
you know what we're talking about. Okay, I'm old enough to remember the mom and pop shops before Blockbuster, and you would walk into like something that looked like the saloon doors with the the swinging doors, and that would be all the porn.
Because in the back was the adult section where it was the like up in like in the Orange County area, we had a mini franchise for like mom and pop rent. So it was actually called Joe's Video. He had it in Goshen, Chester, and Washingtonville, and he was like the supplier of just $3 for 3 days.
I love that. Remember that?
Anything you want, you can spend up to $10, where you can get 3 different items, and in 3 days, of course, we'd always come back and rent more. But that was what we did. It's
always Joe's Video. It's always like Joe's or something. Like, and you'd go and you get like these tapes that were like 8x10 size. The boxes were huge because you couldn't like fake them.
I had only $10 on me, but I wanted to give my mom a present, so I actually bought I bought my mom a movie. Like with the $10 I had, because he was selling them at Joe's Video, and it actually had his label on where this VHS came from. So I bought my mom Lethal Weapon 4.
Okay.
And she was just so thankful, and I genuinely did buy it for her, but of course I watched it.
Or I thought you were gonna say like you opened it up and it was like no penis weapon 4 or something. No.
Like I was very what would I say, deliberate with my movie purchases.
Yeah.
I don't know how, like since we're on the topic, like we didn't actually need to like do anything like that, because we always had that friend down the street who had a big brother who actually had a box of VHS somewhere in the neighborhood.
Yes,
and
or he'd have the magazines in between the Spider-Man comic books. Yeah, we all had that.
Yeah. Or we would literally just get him to rent the rated R movie, and we would just fast forward to that one magical scene.
Yes, like Basic Instinct, that one scene, or whatever the hell it was, Showgirls or whatever.
Showgirls actually was one of those films.
Yeah.
God, that was a while ago. We did that in like 97 or 8 when we were just all like in Major League Baseball at the time.
Oh yeah, it's that old too. And that was going to be like the big NC-17 movie. I remember that. And unfortunately, it destroyed Elizabeth Berkley's career. It didn't destroy
such malarkey. I don't understand why that actually does or do happen, but honestly, she probably honestly, dude, no way can a movie actually do that to somebody, because it doesn't rest on one actor, actress. Like, if she actually is going to shine a light artistically on women being exposed because of their profession, with the guy in charge writing the check, and now we're actually seeing everything about the Me Too movement. She got blackballed because she wouldn't actually contribute to that shit.
It's I mean, it was a different time back then too. You got to think about it. It's like it was her movie. She was gonna be a big star, and the movie was just bad. And it was kind of she got kind of blackballed because the director and the producer and the writer didn't go on a publicity tour, because all the reviews were scathing. But she had to go overseas and promote the film alone, and people were like, "So why'd you star in this shitty movie?" And though her agent dropped her manager dropped her. I think she left Saved by the Bell, or they fired. I mean, not fired her, but I think they just didn't renew her contract. And she now will go around with the movie. Like, she'll introduce the movie now, because it's like a midnight cult classic. I haven't seen it in years, so I don't know much about it, because all I know is Paul Verhoeven, the director, did Starship Troopers, I think the year after, and Elizabeth Berkley wasn't in it, so. Yeah,
I know she did do like a small role in Any Given Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, she played the prostitute across Al Pacino.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. I haven't. I get
3.
I guess she retired. I mean, I don't. But sometimes there's tons of stories like that all over the place. And it seems to be like the women seem to be blackballed with being something, and the men's careers go on fine. Like, it's just. I don't know, it's not fair. But then again, show business is not fair. It never was. I mean, you and I both could tell you stories of like, well, how come my script can't get produced, but this piece of garbage got produced? And you can tell
it's the agency writing the checks, dude.
Yeah,
that's the only variable. Who's paying for it?
I mean, how many times you sit in a movie and you're just watching, like, this is wrong. There's a plot hole here. There's a big one. Wait, why is this here? oh wait, they cut a scene out here. Yeah, I can tell. Oh wait, that doesn't make any sense. And it's because, you know, sometimes they throw money at problems, and the problem is really the script itself. And or how many, Jesus, like how many 12 writers have, you know, rewritten the script, that it's like there's no way to get a comprehensive story out of this because there's so many polishes. That's the Hollywood system. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but I mean, I've seen bad movies now, you know, and you're like, what happened?
I think to that point, to just kind of find like maybe sort of like a verification system, a check or a green light system. You might as well do it as a radio broadcast first and just get the vibe for it. It's just, that's the only way it'll actually work, if the writing is actually there.
If you're right, I mean, honestly, it should be an audition sense first, and be like, let me have a read through of something and find out if it's good enough. And I've done this where I've had people read in a forum and I go, no, that's not good enough. And that's what that's for. But you and I are like the minority. People like, oh, I got a script. I wrote it 2 days ago and I'm gonna make a movie tomorrow. Like, you know, but
I'm out. Like if you're going to build a house, you want it to stand.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and that's why if you go on Netflix or Tubi or Amazon Prime, you'll see tons of these movies that are just disposable. And I'll just watch them and I'll go, I know in the next 2 minutes what's going to happen at the end of this 87-minute movie. And that's not good.
I was watching Tubi just because about a year ago, like we kind of like revived the AFC in a sense where we could actually start shaking hands and meeting people live in person.
Okay.
So the push to actually, why not? We're fine. You know, the pandemic is what it is. Let's get back to basics. So it was actually the cast and crew of this independent film called Love and Love Not that reached out to me because I had done an independent film for just like a grip of that film, but he's a writer. His name's Christopher Ambrosio. I'm helping him now after a year with his next script, Monkey Bars, which may become a podcast play. We're doing a reading of it next week. Cool. I bring up Tubi because they actually released it on Tubi, Love and Love Not, and I got to watch it. It was actually just like a nice story, like, you know, just like, and it made sense, especially for that age group. I probably would have loved it more 10 years ago when I was this guy's age and whatnot, where it's like, I get it. What, like the things you either do for love or you're trying to find it. And then all of a sudden, Tubi plays things like automatically afterwards. So I just never hit stop. And then all of a sudden I come back into the room. Like, I think I just got out of the shower and this other movie was playing. And it was really unexpected, but it was another comedy that came out a few years ago. And it was like How to Plan an Orgy in a Small Town.
Okay. Sounds
it
good.
Was like, I wanted to shut it off immediately, but I just thought, fuck it. I'm not doing anything else. No. And and dude, when I say from reading it from a script and how they executed it and just trying to not be that executive producer or writer or actor and nitpick it or anything like that. First of all, there was nothing I could really do to really nitpick because the way these actors were playing the roles and the scenes and just everything that these guys were giving each other, I have not laughed that hard in years watching a movie for the first time. The whole thing was just really obnoxious idea. It's like, oh, what is it? A sex movie? No, it's not. And I highly recommend if you want to fucking laugh and you haven't laughed in a long time. And I've never seen a single one of these actors before, you know, not really. How to Plan an Orgy in a Small Town came out a few years ago.
You heard it here.
I cried laughing as hard as I could. And just the way they kind of did the ending, the climax, no pun intended, was lit. That's what made me cry and laugh so hard because this one character was so desperate to do the orgy, but nobody wanted to do it with him. And these guys were all high school friends that reconnected right. Serendipitously. And they're just you guys want to do this? And they're all into it, but it's not working. A month goes by, they can't get it done until the very end. And it all ties back into that one magical moment in high school, which moved the story forward on why none of them were really friends anymore. So it was actually just a beautiful story. And it had nothing to do with the sex or the nudity. It was just a comedy. And I thought it was a brilliant idea.
Was it a Tubi original or?
No, I don't think so. I didn't see the beginning. I had to
Okay.
rewind it because apparently, like, they were all in high school together. There was a party, and there was a total misunderstanding. Like, she wants to hook up with her boyfriend or the guy that she really has a crush on. She ends up getting hugely embarrassed and leaves town. They don't see each other for like 15, 20 years, and life just kind of
Hmm.
finds a way, and they all reconnect.
I'm gonna sing Tubi's praises because when they first came out, it wasn't like the best like kind of stuff. It was, like, Werewolf Hunter 19 or something. But like now, and spoiler alert, yes, I am on Tubi in a couple of movies, but I mean, the fact that they're getting better in what they're putting out, like especially with television from like the 70s and the 80s, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be a paid service soon, very
Yeah,
soon to get rid of the commercials, and they're going to be a contender. They're
they'll
they're
never
pretty
get
good.
rid of them. Like, maybe they might have a subscription, but now, like, HBO Go has basically
HBO
commercial
Max.
ads. Oh, sorry, yeah. I forget. They upgraded.
Yeah, all the
HBO
time.
Max, they have ads now at the beginning of everything, you know?
But it's usually for like an HBO show.
Yeah.
Usually. Yeah, right,
No,
right. But
it's
like
one of
Tubi's like
those.
in the middle of it, it's like a Downy Snow commercial or a Taco Bell commercial. Like, well, I want to see what happens to the girl in the shower, that kind of thing. But uh
Well, what
uh
movies do you have on Tubi?
I love Tubi. I have a cameo in a film called Amityville Karen. Now this is a story. There is an Amityville franchise. Yes, the Amityville horror movies stop at like 1 through 5 or 6 or something. And I think there was a remake with Ryan Reynolds, actually, believe it or not, in 2005 or something. The movies that are now Amityville have nothing to do with the original Amityville movies. It's just Amityville put a word behind it. Amityville,
Yeah,
Amityville
Ryan
Snake,
Reynolds.
Amityville Car, Amityville House. I'm in Amityville Shark-house. That hasn't come out yet. That is a horror movie where a guy turns into a shark. I don't know when that's coming out. I'm in Amityville Karen. I have a cameo in the credits as a like delivery driver, and it's there's my friend has made Amityville Turkey Day that should be coming out in Thanksgiving. It's about a killer turkey. Amityville Thanksgiving, I think it's the prequel. There's Amityville Bigfoot, Amityville Sasquatch, Amityville. I think we just did
Possession, The Awakening,
yeah,
horror.
Amityville
Three.
Ripper. Yeah. And the reason why these are successful and there's so many, it's because of the word Amityville. It's the letter A. So you go to Tubi, you write, go to the categories horror, what pops up?
The Astoria Filmmakers Club goes to Amityville.
There you go. Well, you know what though? But if you said the Astoria Filmmakers Club presents, it would be pop up right on Tubi in the A's. And that's ingenious.
That's not like we're from Astoria where it all was incubated. So it's just one of those things.
Doesn't matter. You get up there first instead of, Brooklyn's Filmmakers Club. You got the Astorias.
Yeah.
It's just weird how little things like that work and it works
that,
perfectly.
I guess that was just more of like a, fun fact, like, because it was like, this wasn't like planned out, honestly.
Oh God, no. No. There's
this.
Amityville in outer space or something. Then they asked James Brolin, who was in the original movie in 1978, and he's
No
like,
way.
yeah, and the guy's like, really? He had no idea because he's Barbara Streisand's husband at this point. Like he doesn't care. He's like,
Yeah.
like
They're still
I
married.
don't know what you're talking about. Like the guy had no idea, and they showed him the trailer, and he's like, all right, whatever. He's like, I get no money out of it, and the guy was laughing about it.
Welcome to Happy Corner. This project strives to make safe housing areas for stray cats at an affordable price. It's so easy to put together that even your children could have fun making one. Help keep cats and other animals safe with their own little Happy Corner homes. You can help this project become a reality by donating to the GoFundMe page. Happy Corner homes are a great way to show those animals in need it's okay to be happy.
So
You forgot that he actually did the film when he was a kid.
he was in the 1978 movie. He played the father, and they since discredited Amityville horror like God in the 80s. But they still made the movies. And he only was in the one movie, which is hilarious because like he's I don't even know why you would mention it to the guy because he's like there's 50 of them at this point, but I don't know. But like my career is going weird and going bizarre, but I'm blessed. I just worked with somebody and I had a script that was like in the David Lynch kind of genre of like very deliberate, articulate, excuse me, kind of screenwriting where what happens next type of thing. Like you're in a surreal landscape, and it's great. It's called Beyond Darkness. Excuse me, The Blackest Darkness. I'm thinking of something else. And hopefully there'll be funding for a feature for this thing because it was shot very. I hate to keep using the David Lynch or Stanley Kubrick kind of way. I hate using those tropes, but I mean, it's written it's a dark story written with dark characters in mind. And I don't get scripts like that. When I get a script that's written by a real writer, I hold them tight like a baby. And I'm like, I want to do this. To be fair, and it's like I'm not going to say which project because I mean this is multitude. Even on television, you could see like your basic television episode. They have to fill time. So most likely, I mean, unless it's like a Breaking Bad or something, some of them just like like procedurals, like Law and Order. Like they're not the greatest, but I mean they're there for a purpose. And when you get a film that blows your mind when you're reading the script, I haven't had that. I've had that maybe once before. And you'll do anything to be in that because that's something people remember. If there's anything I could tell your viewers or listeners is if you're going to write something that will be remembered. Because if you write something that's cliched and everyone does it because it's a habit, go back and do draft 2 or 3.
Oh yeah.
And if it's okay if you do draft 18 to 20.
Right.
Because if you tighten it up and if you sharpen your skills, you might have something that's gold. And you want gold. You don't want crap, even though crap can sell too. Believe me, there's this. I just watched I haven't seen this in years. In 1999's remake of The Haunting of Hill House. And they made a movie in the 60s called The Haunting. It's all based on Shirley Jackson's novel, Haunting of Hill House. And the remake in 1999 it was Spielberg behind it with DreamWorks, fledgling kind of special effects, Jan de Bont of Scream, Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Lily Taylor, Bruce Dern was in it. You can't go wrong. Jerry Goldsmith was performing it. The movie's horrible. It is so clumsy. And it's kind of like what I said, like there's scenes cut out. You could tell they just didn't want to go a certain route. And then it was taken away from somebody and put another way. There's definitely reshoots. And I don't want to say it was Spielberg, but I mean, it was a troubled production to begin with. And I mean, I saw it twice. I saw it once in the theater. I hated it. I saw it again, and I'm like, wow, that was pretty bad back then. Because sometimes, you can go back to a movie and you go, oh, let me give it another shot. And like now I'm older. Maybe can I forgive it? Can I give it a pass? I've done that a few times.
We should bring this exact cast back just to do the play version, like something is afoot, and just do it in a space like that.
I don't think Liam Neeson would do that. Oh, maybe, I don't know. He's been doing like the Charlie Bronson kind of movies now. Like, I'm surprised that.
Yeah, this was on my no-fly zone because I actually remember. No, because I still do. Like I'm probably gonna be in love or like have my boy crush for Catherine Zeta-Jones until the day she dies or I die.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Like I literally watched The Mask of Zorro because it was on Netflix the other day, and I've seen it before, and it's like, yes, I am going to watch it. I want to see her perform in that, even though I have already. So I remember this trailer, and I was only not even 10 or 11 years old when I saw the trailer, and like I just could not bring myself to even look at it because I think it was Owen Wilson that I did try to watch him in a horror movie. It was Anaconda that came out.
That's a good movie. That's a good monster movie.
I like that movie, but I was still scared, and like it was like Owen Wilson's like first thing. I'm familiar with Ice Cube, and there's Jennifer Lopez. She just did Selena. I'm comfortable going on the ride of South American documentarians. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's a fucking snake, and it's eating people alive. And I was never and I'm an animal lover, like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Yeah, of course. Little did I know that people were going to die hard in that film. And so
listen,
it's just like,
every movie, everyone should have a giant anaconda in it. It doesn't matter what it is. Any movie should have it in there. Forrest Gump would have been much better if there was anaconda people. I would have paid attention to that movie.
No, they almost made number 2.
I heard something like that, but
Yeah, there
that
was
doesn't happen.
they were actually doing read-throughs right up until 9/11, and then they just they just said nope, don't like for it would have ruined Forrest Gump for me because like I don't care, like it was perfect the way it was. It's a piece of art, it's timeless, and you'll never forget Forrest Gump because there was only one. And if they made a second one, it wasn't going to make money. It probably would have been
No.
fun, you know, but like
As much as I can dislike a film or dislike, I can always say about its cultural influence, like Forrest Gump or like Twister. Twister is a dopey movie, but for the time, it's a fun movie, and I don't mind watching that again. I don't mind watching Forrest. Well, Forrest Gump's too damn long, but like now it's flipped on its head, and I said in the beginning of this thing where Marvel movies are now like the Forrest Gumps and like they are like these Oscar nominated, and I'm like that would never happen back when I was a kid or you were a kid. It wouldn't have happened.
it's a
Because
different
those were the
ballgame.
fun
You know,
movies. Yeah,
it was Blockbuster, it was studio.
and that's it.
We've had guests come on the show and talk about either it's a blockbuster hit or it's a money make it's a money making machine. Not that, I mean, okay, that's a fun fact, but does that actually add viewer value in soliciting that information? Like, do you want us to contribute to a record breaking film that already broke a record? And you didn't, and like I took that personal when we did the last podcast with a guest. Like the cost of a ticket is completely different.
Who was your guest?
I'm trying
Cameron?
dude, it was like three. It was actually three in one day. I'll get back to you on that. But,
James Cameron, he's like yelling at you about Avatar 2, which I have not seen, James. Sorry. I will not see
Not for
that.
no, I did enjoy Avatar 2, but Tarzan Jr. just didn't do it for me. I don't give a fuck about that kid or his dad.
There's a Tarzan Jr.
There's a Tarzan kid in Avatar Part 2. Spoiler alert. And there's so many different things that they could have just said not necessary. Like not to get off topic, but anyway, like we don't have a topic. This is AFC podcast. We can talk about anything, but no, like there was like it's available right now. I watched it during Christmas time. I thought it was very well done. The soundtrack was beautiful. I've experienced that Disney World, the Avatar rides. I think it's all one beautiful universe.
Yes.
And I think the storyline is on its way to much bigger things because there's always a hidden message on like where we are as a nation going, because it's so like it's really pathetic on some of the things that really drives us to be alive. And like we believe 9 times out of 10 in things that are just non-sustainable because these guys are the invaders. And like, they came back with a vengeance because they're just after the resources of the land. Yes. Meanwhile, the true value of the land has nothing to do with the resources you need to acquire for a fictitious element such as money itself. There's no power in that. And as a Na'vi, like you're literally contributing to something more powerful, which is I'll call it the humanity, but literally to the people itself, of the Na'vi, and I think there's more to the story than really meets the eye. Tarzan, don't need him, lose him. So if anything, just give the guy give me a break and just put him in uniform. Something like, or give him an avatar. Like, fuck Tarzan. He doesn't. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like. Ugh. I haven't spoken about it yet. Even my therapist doesn't know about how I truly feel.
I remember the first movie, and that's all I needed to see. And all I got from that movie was him recycling all of his other movies into that movie, and it was beautiful with the 3D. It really was great when it came out. When I found out he was doing like 3 or 4 of them, I'm like, I have no interest in that. Like, this is not a thing I want to see again. If anything, he should do another Terminator movie. So the other bad Terminator movies should be forgotten. But if there's anything that he should go back to, it's that.
I don't know. Well, he literally used to be a truck driver before he became a filmmaker. So, I mean, I never knew that about the guy. Like the guy didn't go to film school. But
no, he went to Roger Corman's film school and he learned how to do it on Piranha 2 and 2 horror movies, Galaxy of Terror.
And like he's been fired from not being able to direct.
Yes.
And meanwhile, so that's what I really fucking love about the independent film market, especially with the people I've met in the AFC, is because they got a real fucking like skill set. They just need to be put in the right position at the right time. Yes. I've met countless people in this club so far that like really have, undeveloped skill where they just need a shot. Yeah. And like, I remember when they he really took it personal, James Cameron, when he was working with the biggest movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger at the time. And he's like, wait, I will be back. I will say it like this because it's more like a machine. No,
Right.
it's not. That's not the point. Now it's iconic saying, I'll be back. Yeah, whatever. So you got to just trust the director. And meanwhile, I think he didn't want to do Terminator 2 because it was more like a studio thing of double downing because technically they own the property, even though this guy created it.
Well, he always had it in mind, I believe. I'm trying to think of my James Cameron history,
I
but
don't
his
think he did
history,
Judgment Day.
his history with studios has been bad because he always makes long movies and he wants to do the best. And he's always been, even Terminator 1 was almost like a 2.5 hour movie. And he's always had fights. And The Abyss famously was like 3.5. And like, no, you got to make it cut to 2 hours long. And it was a disaster. And then Titanic came around, and there's maybe a little bit cut out, but like he's like, no, we want to do a 3 hour movie.
PCR.
Oh, the double tape.
The double like the double tape, the whole like it's a brick, and
Yeah.
we still have that.
Part 1 and part 2.
Part one,
Part 1 tape, and then part 2.
tape 1,
Yeah.
tape 2 in one.
Yeah.
Before DVD came out.
Those are. I mean, I doubt they're worth something, maybe because VHS is coming back, like kind of like vinyl.
Well,
So
I mean,
it
like
might be good.
it's possible like it could really decay over time.
Yeah.
Like Be Kind Rewind. Like technically it's like that item is the property of the maker itself, even though you purchasing it licenses you to see it, but you can't show that in public with your
Correct.
friends. So
Right.
like, there's a lot of shit about this whole business where it's just like, why not? It's free. Like people are going to find everything for free on the internet regardless. And it's not piracy if we're just sharing the love of the movie and we're just promoting it.
It is the
making
truth.
money from it.
I mean, how many, like, I recommend movies all the time. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm like, you should see this, you should see that. And I'm learning about movies a lot. And I'm trying to like, what decade haven't I seen this? Like, oh, I've never seen this. So,
Yeah.
and Tubi, here we go again with Tubi. Tubi, I don't have money. I'm not getting money from Tubi. Tubi actually has a lot of these movies. And I feel like the joke is like he'll go into a thrift store, whoever owns Tubi, and gets videos and puts on. He digitizes them and puts them on his platform or whatever. But honestly, if you love movies, just try to take yourself out of 2023 and try to start with 1923 and see what you can do. See how they did stuff in like 1923, 1933. King Kong's a great example. I mean, those special effects, I love those effects back then. Now, obviously,
Did that come out in 1923, the original?
I think 1933.
Oh, 33.
Right. And you got to think like think of this. Like I probably someone has done this movie, but like the guy going into the studio saying, I need X amount of money to make this movie about a monster king gorilla. Well, what do you mean? We can't train a gorilla. You can just think like the studio. Oh, no, I'm going to make one. And we're going to do it with trick photography. What are you talking about? Now, remember, this is like, they don't do stuff like this back in the 30s because it's the first one. Now you say, oh, I can make King Kong run on my computer or my iPad. I mean, The Mandalorian, if you know that television show, there is a green screen studio, like a giant circular green screen studio. I saw this on an ILM featurette. And all the guy does is take an iPad, not all the guy does, but like he'll track the actor through the action and, oh, we need a stormtrooper here. We need this here. That's amazing compared to King Kong, what they started with. But without King Kong, you wouldn't have The Mandalorian. That's my point.
Never thought about it like that,
Yeah. That's why these special effects snobs that I've heard in some podcasts that I go, it's 2009. Like, what are you kidding? Like, if it serves the purpose of the story, yes, sure. I know some effects are like, you laugh at them and you date it because the CGI is not there or the puppetry is not there. But if it serves the story and it's done well, I'm more of a practical effect guy. Like Ghostbusters, the 1984 one. I love the puppetry.
That was kind of like its own.
Yeah,
it was not goofy in any I don't want to knock it that way, but there are certain tactics and techniques, and including puppetry, that had to be incorporated to make the shots work.
Yeah, and I mean, do they hold up? Some of them do. Some of them, you see it. Who cares? You're getting to the story. That's what I would say. You're into the story. It doesn't matter what's on the screen at that point. I feel. But I don't like the movies that have like $300 million and you're still sitting there going, this is horrible. I don't care.
Now, is that the director in you that kind of just nitpicks in that, where it's just like a little biased?
It doesn't matter. I mean, you could have the greatest special effects, you could have the greatest actors, but if they don't have anything to do, either one of them, and it's just like, well, we're gonna have this $1 billion, set, and we're not gonna do anything with it. This is like the movie The Haunting. They had nothing to beautiful sets. They had nothing to do. It was bad. You need to have them either interact. You need a dramatic tension. That's just basic storytelling.
So
And
it was underwritten basically, or underdirected?
I think, well, there's studio interference. That's a lot of history with films. I don't know about today in the sense of maybe with the Marvel and the DC movies, like like Zack Snyder. That was Zack Snyder's Justice League. There was a major thing with him, and then they had to replace him because he had a tragedy with Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon did a good job. And they hated Joss Whedon doing his cut, but then they wanted Zack Snyder's cut, and that might not be an example of studio interference. But I mean, the studios have the paycheck, and they want to make more of that money, and that's why, like what you have with the Astoria Filmmakers Club, you're not about money. Of course, you'd like to have money, but you're not about the money. You're about exactly what you said. You want the art to get out there.
It's more of a resource than an actual like motive,
Yeah, no, you and other artists will come to you and say, "Hey, I have an idea. Do you think we can make maybe a 15-minute film, or we could maybe start with something small?" And that's what it's about. All writing is rewriting. All filmmaking is about experimenting. If you can't have a dinosaur run across the screen, don't have a dinosaur run across the screen unless you can do it properly, or maybe fake it in a way that it does look. You got to know what you're going to do. And that's just not with special effects. It's also like you have to watch your dialogue, and you have to realize, what kind of movie are you making? Are you making something like a family drama with realistic characters? Then you should watch a movie like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. It's also a play. If you're wanting to do like a comedy snarky thing, you do something like Woody Allen, maybe Manhattan or Annie Hall or something like that, for example, from some of the 70s. If you just think you're a know-it-all and you think you write a script in a day, you're going to wind up with something called The Room by Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Which is indecipherable, but it's funny. I mean, it's still like the most expensive drama, I think, to make no money. But like, if you guys haven't seen The Room or haven't heard The Room, it is a puzzling, I guess, tearjerker drama about one guy and people like hurting his feelings. I don't know what it's about, but it's laughably bad with multiple story problems and multiple characters leaving and multiple acting problems from everybody.
And somehow it became a book, and that book became the
Disaster Artist. Yeah, well, that was the actor. Greg,
yeah.
I can't think of his name, unfortunately, but like, yeah, that was a great book. And it's a good movie because I think it was James Franco and Seth Rogen were in it. And
they recreated it, and oh my god! Like,
also, you want to talk about
17
bad movies? Like Ed Wood did Plan 9 from Outer Space, and they made a great movie. Tim Burton made Ed Wood about him in 1994, and Martin Landau won for playing Bela Lugosi, and Johnny Depp is in it. He plays Ed Wood. That's a movie I recommend. What you don't want to do.
From 1994, you're right.
But Ed Wood, I actually have a poster Plan 9 from Outer Space on my wall. Why? Because Ed Wood, well, Vampire is hot, but that's beside the point. Ed Wood, although he was a failure, he tried.
It is Bill Murray. Oh, look at that.
Tried. No, Johnny Depp.
No,
yes.
Bill Murray played Bunny Bringeneck. Breckenridge.
Yes, who was in Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh,
he's a real person.
Yeah, like Martin Loder played Bela Lugosi.
Martin Landau. Yeah, this is it's a drama. It's a drama, but it's a retelling of Ed Wood.
Kingpin playing Orson Welles. Nice.
Ed Wood is kind of my hero in the sense that he tried to do something, and he made a movie. He made a couple movies. They're not good, but in them there's a little gem of something. Like he wants to tell something of his soul in each one of them. And I give him credit for that. Tommy Wiseau, I don't know what the hell he's trying to say. I don't know. Or like Transformers, Revenge of the Dark Curse, or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what the point of that movie is, except, there's light on the screen at that point. There's some movies that
This
have
actually
soul.
looks like an amazing movie, you know, like a little like Johnny Depp hidden gem,
A Johnny Depp.
a Johnny Depp hidden gem. Johnny Depp didn't him. That's a
that's
warm
that's an
up.
acting. That's
A
an
Johnny
acting.
Depp.
That's
So
like
it is a
yes,
Johnny.
I recommend Ed Wood, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Take a look. Take a look at.
It says it won 2 Oscars.
Martin Landau and something else.
Oh, for better actor,
No, it was Martin Landau.
best
for
actor
supporting
in a
actor.
supporting role, and best makeup. 1995 double Oscar winner
Yes, right.
goes to Martin Landau and Rick Baker.
Rick Baker, very, very famous, very, very famous makeup artist from Star Wars. Actually, I think he did, if I'm not mistaken, did Chewbacca. So
I think he did. It says here he did Planet of the Apes.
he did Planet of the Apes. He did American Werewolf in London. The guy's a legend. He did King Kong, 1974. So yeah, I know my movies. I'm good with
Well, I
the
mean-
Story Filmmakers Club.
Oh no shit! He actually also did on How the Grinch Stole Christmas. with Jim
Yes,
Carrey.
he did.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Oh, you know what? And that's another thing. Like I said before, like makeup, God bless him, respect the hell out of him. Unfortunately, I can't really just enjoy them in a movie. But he also, oh my God, wait a minute. Same guy did.
Rick Baker.
No, yes, he did. I've seen. All right, I've definitely seen his work in this. He actually did all of Robert Downey Jr.'s makeup in Tropic Thunder.
Right. Rick Baker's amazing.
You're gonna have to get the best of the best.
Totally. Well, I'm trying to think like, well, what is your dream movie to make? What is your dream project to make?
Me, Phil,
Yeah, you.
as
You,
what?
Phil.
Actor Phil, director Phil, figuring it out Phil. Like I don't know.
How about director Phil? What would you want to do? Like you just said that the orgy movie was a good love story, let's say.
That was just funny because I cannot imagine people from my high school having not tried to do that, and then here we are, like early having kids,
Right.
like mid-30s, coming back just to kind of like respark high school. It's just like, oh my God. That's just what made it funny because it's just like I can't even imagine, especially from a small town. Like I graduated in Goshen, New York, class of 170 people. I was a kid that never got invited to the parties. I was like, I was like that. Like I really was I was the bottom of the barrel. Like
So you would write a story like that?
no,
That's the story
no.
that's
I mean,
right
like there's times where I kind of like thought about, especially when I was fresh into college, and the only type of stories I could tell were like high school football films or like a sports film or wrestling or something. Like it was fresh in my mind because I wasn't really like, those are the things I was recently exposed to and pursued and performed in. And being an actor was just such a new thing that I just did not do in high school. And if I honestly never really thought about like ultimate goal as a writer director. There was something that during the time of liking getting into the business of this, more or less the business, and acting, creating my own stuff. I got a couple projects over my right shoulder. There's something I really like that's really in the front of like most of this stuff, a story that I really want to tell. It's actually a show. Well, not Fireland, like that's a show. There's another one here that I really do want to do. I don't know if I could direct it or what I could be due to a part of it, but I sure as shit want to see that story. It's actually called Sikh. It's actually spelled Sikh. And it's a story about like the Sikh temple that was actually had a domestic terrorist attack in 2012 at a temple in Wisconsin. And
Really?
like I never wanted to like turn this into a cinematic story or a movie, but I think it deserves one because there's such a story under the story that I think, especially with modern day America, that we need to just recognize cops, specifically good cops, for putting their life on the line. And that's a story specifically that shines a light on a police officer being in the right place at the right time, that saved more lives, almost sacrificed himself before the 6th or the 7th or the 8th man or woman in that temple was going to be murdered by just like by a shooter. I think it's appropriate for modern time. I don't know if I could direct it or how I'll be a part of it, but it's not really like a cinematic story, far from the truth of what actually happened, because of like a very, like, I'm spiritual, and when God has his hands on something, I kind of sense it, because there was a moment of gratitude when this police officer was literally dying from bullet wounds. Like, he got shot 15 times to save the people in that temple that he didn't even know was like really in there at the time. But it turns out, not to spoil the whole thing, but it's a true story because it was all over the news. That
But you read the newspaper. It's not, you're not spoiling anything.
no, like, this is such a gorgeous fucking story that I think needs to be talked about, and really shine a light on really modern day problem, or the perception of problem, on like who's really the guy protecting the community. This guy, because he took 15 bullets that day, and he took one bullet of every person who survived in that in that temple at the time.
Yes.
So this is a story that I personally I have to see this, like, whether it's cinematic or whatever, directed, I don't know. Like this, but this is a story, especially in 2012, when I was sort of at the height of my acting training, where that is the fucking story that I want to be a part of, because that is a true, beautiful story. This guy saved some lives, and those are the type of stories that I have to see.
Right. Well, so you're more like a true story kind of.
I'm really attracted to true stories, and like there's a Korean War movie that we started, or that I wanted to begin long ago, but now is a better time. It's actually now called Heart and Soul. Originally, it was called Death Rattled, or Ethos, or Forgotten Legacy. It's a story about the Korean War, and it's so rich in history. And the further from the Korean War we actually are, year after year, the more story there is to discover, because there's a lot of people that were involved in that war, 35,000 that we lost, almost closer to 10,000 MIA, that we're not actually talking about. It is the forgotten war, because the Vietnam War has been told like 10 or 15 times, like 10 or 15 different ways, by 10 or 15 different years, nonstop. We know this, like, there's so much more about war that sucks. I get it. But we only did, like, I think maybe Wind Talkers with Nicolas Cage about that time.
Right.
So like, we're like, not to give credit or maybe disrespect the people who are a part of it, but when I was first acting, I met somebody who was a journalist who actually served when he was my age in Korea. Like, they got drafted. They just won World War II, and now he's getting assigned and drafted. You're not college. Nope. Stopping the commies. There's so much rich story in there, and now I changed it to Heart and Soul, because it does actually have so much heart and soul in it. But because of that, it's not a movie anymore. It's actually a little bit of a series, because it's not just about the kids in America. It's not. It's also about the kids in Korea. It's also about, unfortunately, all those kids in fucking China that did end up getting captured, but there was so much problems with negotiation where we could not get our MIA guys back, because the policy at the time, I didn't know in America, was that if these guys do not want to go back to China and be automatically put back into the army, the policy was they're not going to be forced to go back. And the collateral was the MIA guys, our kids, our guys, our boys. They were stuck there because of that policy. And honestly, I think that's just the pride. I still, it's neither right nor wrong. But it really just shows on like what China's policy was, and really just shows where it's like, we're not going to force, which is a little fucking hypocritical, them to go back. Meanwhile, you took these kids' futures away from them on our side, where you drafted them to go there. So there's a lot of things to play with as far as like story development. And that's why it's now more of a series than it actually is a movie, because movies are a little bit limited, but it's not about just one guy anymore. Like, it's about an entire fucking generation. Almost a lost generation, because 35,000 young men, that's a huge fucking hit. And that's why I wanted to do Fireland so bad, is because 343 firefighters die on 9/11. That's a huge hit. And meanwhile, this is like 1,000 or 100 times more that affected the entire nation. Yeah, that infected the entire fire department, which affected the entire city of New York and the culture of firefighting worldwide. Yeah. But there's such a fucking vicious cycle where there's like it seems like it's our responsibility to actually tell the story, regardless of the money value coming back. There's something being overlooked here, and it's really my fault I haven't done this sooner, because it is on me to tell the stories I want to tell, and this is why I want to tell these stories, because nobody else actually did. The only reason this nonprofit exists is because nobody else in my entire network or in the city of New York somewhere started something like this. And it really pisses me off that it puts a little bit of pressure on me to do it. Not because that's not what I wanted for my life. I just wanted to be the actor, get a TV show, and just read the damn script, or at least I'm a little heated, but that's not exactly my motive. But I wanted to have a life,
Sometimes if you want to do something creative, you have to create it yourself. That's what I've learned. You have to take it in your hands and mold your career. And then you wind up becoming the second or third lead in Mutilator 2 for some reason, because they saw you in something that you produced. It all happens. It's all like this artistic vicious circle. It happens. And then you'll be, somebody will, oh, who's this guy over here? And he's like the extra. And they might give you a speaking part. It happens. So you're probably in a good spot right now, to be honest. I mean, I commend you for a filmmakers club. No, I mean, that's what you want to do. That's what you should think about as starting a production company, starting,
it's another industry, dude. But that's what really gets under my skin. It's like, it's not studio. It's not just independent film. It's something else that doesn't exist. And that's what kind of, really bothers me about it. Like nothing like this. I don't even know what to call it, because I don't know what it is,
It's the Filmmakers Club.
That's it.
Become a filmmaker.
No, that's exactly what it is. It just doesn't have a definition, It only is what the people make it. And
it's where creatives come to create. And you know what? You're doing a good job. So I think that's where we should end that, in the sense that you are a creative and the people who are watching this and are listening to this are creatives, and they should come to your Filmmakers Club, and they should come to the Mutilator too. And they should, if you are a creative person, you need to find other creatives, because that's where you get your energy from. Fair?
It's 100% fair. And we wrap up every single show with a little segment called The Right Words at the Right Time.
Okay, sure.
And you're a director, writer, actor, historian. And, my curiosity is, because it always takes maybe sometimes the right words at the right time that you heard along your journey that just really carried you through, like the thick and thin. My curiosity for you is, has there ever been a person in your life that literally just gave you the right words at the right time when you were feeling down, you were at your lowest, where these are the words that just carried you through? Or if you never heard those words from somebody, do you have words of your own that you want to share?
Hopefully you can find the right person to love you for who you are. And when you find people who use you, manipulate you, or try to get you into a situation where it could ruin your life, you're not going to be on the right path. But if you're somebody who says, hey, you know what? I think you're a creative person. I think you know what to do. I think you can do this. You can do this. And I've had a few people do that. And these people are close to my heart. You want to keep the person who will, not somebody who will placate you, someone will pat you on the head and be like, oh, yeah. No, you want someone to look at you and be like, you know what? I don't think you're doing a good job. I don't think you're working hard enough. You want this, you have to go for it. And that's how you do it. If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going anywhere. So hopefully you can find that person that will lead you into the right area to do. So I wish you all the luck with this Filmmakers Club, and hopefully we'll see big things from it.
From your mouth to God's ears, I believe
Yeah.
we will. And
It'll happen. I think we need more people like you and like my the Greensboro Playwright Forums. We need creative outlets that can give people a space, a place to put their stuff on display. And I thank you again for having me, by the way.
No, please, and do not hesitate if you need money, dude. Like we got so many actors, so many passionate people.
Well, now in that case,
oh, you heard it here, folks. You could actually donate to the Astoria Filmmakers Club by texting from your phone or just donating directly from our website at 646-681-2810. Just text AFC. That'll bring up a multitude of different links or projects, multiple campaigns that we're working on, which is approximately 30 or 40 at the time. My guest today was Carl Grasso, dude. Thank you so much.
Hashtag, you can find me on Instagram I'm not going to say Insta. I'm not with the kids. Instagram, Carl J. Grasso. And that's also, you can find me on IMDb. And hopefully you'll see me in a couple of movies soon. So thank you, Phil, for having me. And I wish you all the luck.
Thank you so much, man. Please, the next, as soon as you got something ready to go, you want to talk about it on the podcast,
absolutely.
Let me know. We're going to do a part 2. And if we got to do 1 hour or 2 hours, let's have a little chit chat.
I can't wait. Thank you again.
Ciao for now, buddy. Thank you.